Excellencies, my good friends from media, and all my other distinguished friends. I was a bit late to come for this program because, as you know, there is agitation going on which has blocked all the movement of our trains. So what I was doing there for a few minutes to remove the roadblock, I think that's what we have been doing for the last 1 year in this government, to remove various blocks, various impediments in the movement, and then to make sure that when they are removed, then we can move faster at a speed that you contemplate that we must have. And that's why I seek your apologies. And I thank the group, which is, I don't know how to call the group because there's so many channels and so many multimedia platforms, but a group which is really spearheading the campaign for positivity. And I really appreciate it, because as you know, even doctors will tell you that the best of medicines won't work if the body doesn't want to think that he's going to get better. So if you do not bring in the element of positivity into the entire atmosphere, however may be the prescription, whatever may be the solution that we may bring about, will not get as good a response that we would have got otherwise. So thank you very much for that as well. My friends have told me to speak about economy, global economy, and then coming back to railways and all other things. So it's a difficult challenge to talk about all of that. But let me tell you that probably, looking at global economy as a whole, we are in one of the best possible situations today in the country. My good friend Raghavan will tell you that if you want to draw a horoscope, then if it is all the stars are in the right house, then we should make the best use of that time. Because that time you go and propose, you will probably get married. You do some business at that time, it will definitely happen. Or if the stars are not in the right place, even the proposition might result into something else for you. So therefore, this is the best time for India, and we should try to make the best of it. Why is it the best time? The largest economy of the world, which is really suffering, and we thought it is already on the verge of recovery till we got the last quarter results. US growing at more than 1%, 2% is a significant one, because that itself adds to huge global output because it's the largest economy. But they are actually not growing as strong as they should be. China, the second largest economy, which is slowing down, may be good for them, because there is an overcapacity, there is overinvestment, there is a huge exposure of the state banking system to state-created assets. To finance the state-created assets, there has been a depressed interest rate deliberately provided to the household savers, and as you know, the China's saving rate is as high as 50%. To finance it, that's why the Chinese citizens are now trying to find out a way out and try to use grey banking. That is thriving. The housing bubble, which was created by the fact that there was a overcapacity, people wanted to buy housing. So China is slowing down and may be good for them. Third largest economy, Japan, which seems to be, as we thought, people talk about Modinomics, the Japanese will talk about Abenomics, and actually working in the right way, the three arrows, but sometimes these, I think, arrows are missing some target in a week. And the Japanese economy is also not growing. After a little bit of some spurt, it is also slowing down. Europe, I don't say we can call the EU as one economy, but still there is a common market, there is a common currency. That, except Germany, is in a bit of a trouble. Or rather, using that is a little kindness to the reality. And in that context, the economy which is now growing faster than any other is India. And at a time when we are growing, that means the domestic demand will grow, And if the demand grows, obviously, there has to be a supply that has to be created to do that. That's why we need investment. And to make those investments, there will be a possibility of availability of a global capital of unmanageable proportion, unimaginable proportion. Why? Because all the economies which are slowing down have also got capacity to invest. Japan has a very high public debt to GDP ratio, very high, 200% plus. But Japan has domestic savings as well as Japan has a pension rate, huge pension savings. Japanese companies had probably at given point of time, as the economists estimated, probably something like 40% of the GDP where they were holding as cash. So Japanese have the capacity to invest. China has the foreign exchange reserves, they could invest. US, of course, is a net debtor, but still has the capacity, the corporate world has the capacity, the European companies, so they will be looking out for investments into the markets like India, which is going to grow. And at a time when India needs also to supplement the domestic savings which had fallen over a period of time to actually make this thing happen. So India is now poised in a very favorable situation to take advantage of the global scenario. I was saying all the time that we were hit by headwinds for too long because the global currents were hitting us not so well. But now there is a tailwind and we could really benefit from it provided we put everything in order. To put that in order, last 1 year, our government worked on quite a few things. I was saying there was the first problem was to bring in this positivity. Everybody, few months ago, a year ago, if you hear anybody, they're all saying that we don't want to invest, we don't want to do anything because nothing is going to happen, and if anything is going to happen, that will happen the wrong way. And that was the reality, perception, and people were swayed by that. To change that was not easy. So when people expect us to do better and we would want to do better, you must understand from where we started. And therefore, at a given situation, a Prime Minister decided to focus not on something which is just trying to create headlines, but to work on basics and try to start working on that. One of the first things that the government did was to ensure that our banking system is insulated from the challenges that the economy was facing. In fact, when there was the Southeast Asian economic crisis, when the capital flow happened, Indian banking system was not affected. Of course, I used to say, anyway, so that was not affected. Now, banks were exposed to high investment in infrastructure projects. And as you know, there's a mismatch. The banks, by definition, normally borrow, which is their time and demand liabilities, of not more than 5 years. And no infrastructure project can ever be serviced within 5 years. So you have to lend to an infrastructure sector, you must always keep in mind that probably, ideally, the repayment should be after 15 years or something like this. If not the entire period, but at least the tenure should be long enough. But we didn't have an instrument like this. And therefore the bank system was exposed, and therefore the equity of the promoters, which in turn was anyway part of a debt taken from somebody else, and the debt, which is the banking system exposure, was completely in mess. So Prime Minister himself presided over meetings and tried to untangle this situation. And it has happened in a significant way. The second challenge was a huge current account deficit. Now, the current account deficit was putting so much of pressure on so many other sectors. Thankfully, that has eased down, also because of some of the global trend, but also because of domestic action. Thirdly, there was a huge fiscal deficit. And the fiscal deficit was also putting serious challenges. We have actually tried to abate it at a time when we are given more than half of the divisible pool to the states. This is unprecedented. That the first time in India, of the divisible pool of the taxation that we have in the country, more than half, almost 53% has gone to the states. So the center is left only with 47%, and despite that, we have been able to manage the fiscal deficit. And that is something which is, in my opinion, one of the great macroeconomic management success. And therefore, we did that. We also trying to now work on trade deficit, which in turn goes into the revenue deficit anyway. And therefore, if you work on all this, the macroeconomic management of the economy, once it improves, you could see a significant improvement on the ground that we all talk about. Ground पे क्या होगा, जमीन पे नहीं दिखाई दे रहा है. तो कुछ लोगों को जमीन ही दिखाई देती है और कुछ लोगों को जमीन पे कुछ दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है. तो to make that happen, we had to work on many issues. So we worked on macroeconomic management, but also on sectors. We work on quite a few sectors, which is energy, which is infrastructure. Of course, energy is part of infrastructure, but roads, railways. Just talk about railways, because it should not happen that I come and talk about everything else but railways. So railways, we decided to invest $140 billion, which is unprecedented. And to make that, we have realized that resources are limited. So we decided to make extra budget resources available on such terms which are most favorable to us, and to create that infrastructure which in turn will spur growth in the economy. No economy can survive unless we make investment infrastructure today. And those infrastructure decisions, making infrastructure decisions, investment decisions today, will see a benefit later. But those decisions made today is securing of tomorrow's future. That's what we did. And we also worked on quite a few things. Our bureaucracy, for obvious reason, was very demotivated. Prime Minister led from the front, infused confidence in them, and tried to work on this. So this is a great year for India in which these larger issues were properly dealt with. Along with that, we came out with the programs which have, some of them have already benefited the society. For example, just talking about, I don't want to talk about all the programs because I don't think you can run this channel for one more year on this program, right? Because for me to tell you about all the achievement of 1 year, it will take 1 year. So I don't want to take that much time. But I will tell you in brief about, so what we did was, besides sectors, besides this, some of the programs that we are working on are already shown results. Something I would say unbelievable, incredible, and that is Jan Dhan Yojana. Prime Minister announced it on 15th of August from the Red Fort. And how much time you take from traveling from Red Fort to come to Rajghat? That much time, he actually completed that announcement and implemented it. From 15th August, from Red Fort to 26th January to the Rajghat, to India Gate. In that period, virtually, this is completely implemented, and we have been able to now bring each and every family into the banking fold. Globally, this is the record anybody has achieved. Because as we have a financial inclusion as our ambition and mission, so as the world has this ambition. And we have helped the world, because by bringing so many families into the banking fold, the global targets will be achieved very fast. And therefore, that could happen, and that's really a miracle. That shows 2-3 things. One, the commitment of this government to achieve something which is doable in short time, in the shortest possible time. Second, it couldn't have been possible unless there was a leadership of a Prime Minister and a Finance Minister to make this happen. Third, it was still not possible if there was not a teamwork of the entire banking system working along with the state governments to make this happen. So we could do this, and now you can imagine it's not just a certificate. It is not just a number of a bank account, but it is something more than that, because now people will be able to be using this instrument for so many things. People will not be able to only use it, but the government also will be able to do cash transfer there. The bank account operation will actually in the long run arrest this menace of parallel economy. The black money that we keep talking about, when the entire system, what is black money? Of course, so many transactions pass through banking system also may not be accounted for. But their proportion is far less than the transactions which do not pass through banking account at all. And therefore, putting banking system in place in this particular manner ensures that in future we'll be able to work on so many things. Prime Minister launched a social security program for those who never could imagine that they will get a pension in life. I was also telling that day somebody that those section of society never had pension, but they had something else which others didn't have. They had tension. So some others could get pension like the government employees, but a large number of people had nothing, and therefore the government decided, the Prime Minister decided to launch this program. And now in the first few weeks, probably more than, I could be wrong in numbers because the number is constantly growing, But definitely more than 6-7 crore people have already taken this policy. And therefore this is a great achievement that the government has been able to do along with the insurance program and others. Agriculture, which is one of the key challenge of the country, not just us, in many areas. One is the macro issue. The share of agriculture is constantly going down as a percentage of GDP. That is obvious and that is logical also, because the agriculture cannot grow at the same rate as the services could grow. And if the services are part 60% of the GDP, obviously your share of agriculture will go down. But it has a lot of social implications. What are the social implications? That still 2/3 of the people are dependent on agriculture and allied activities, like animal husbandry, like poultry, like dairying and others. Now, many of them feel, as per the National Sample Survey report, that they want to quit farming. How do you then challenge of agriculture is, first, make sure that large proportion, 2/3 people share only 16% of the income of the country, because that's the share of the GDP. Then obviously, that is the root cause of poverty. So we have to do many things, amongst which one, make sure that the people will be able to migrate from agriculture, and the exit route is not just hanging themselves, but exit route should be some profitable enterprise. And therefore we have launched a major program for skill development. Skill development will enable the farmers to migrate from farm, not just to factories, that I'll come little later, but also to something better, like doing on their own some enterprise, and that could be really a game changer. China is always created with large enterprises. Some of the companies are one of the largest in the world, Fortune 500 companies. But China is something like TVC, town and village companies, which number is even larger. And that is something which has made Chinese also gather momentum to the economy, and that supply chain that we talk about could happen through this. So agriculture is a challenge which you want to address in a multiple way. Making people from migrate, improve productivity, and therefore we are doing a major program for soil testing as well as taking irrigation to the farms. We are also trying to create an integrated market. Some states have agreed to dismantle the Agriculture Price Market Commission, and we will try to move towards creating an integrated market to create more income for the people of India. And that could again lead to the farmers getting income. Just imagine the effect of that on creating a rural demand, rural income, so the economy can grow even faster. Agriculture is one of the fundamental challenges which we need to address together. And that's something which is arising out of climate change. These unseasonal rains could become a normal feature. This is what something with the United Nations Fundamental Convention of Climate Change thought about. Then they set up the committee of experts, which used to be chaired by Dr. Pachauri. And that particular, we have always seen that climate change is going to, the worst effect of climate change will be felt by agriculture. And that too in a country like India. Unseasonal rains, rising temperature, and probably rains coming at a time when we don't need them and may not be available when we actually need them. So how do you develop drought resistance, climate-proof technologies and farming practices? And that's something which we are trying to do, and that will happen, but that will take some time. But farming is one of a priority. Farmers is our target area, and therefore we want to work with them to make that happen. Second part of the economy, as I said, agriculture. The second proportion, which again has not been growing, in fact going down, was manufacturing. And you can never sustain an economy if you do not create stable jobs through manufacturing. So we need blue-collar jobs as well, and for that the manufacturing has to grow. And for manufacturing to grow, we could not have made it happen without a campaign which our Prime Minister started, which is the title of your today's program, Make in India. And Make in India is not just make something in India. Make in India is a campaign for make tomorrow's India. It is not just make in India. It is make tomorrow's India by making sure that rather than becoming a country which is supporting the other economies by importing as much as possible. We are the largest importers of ammunition. The Prime Minister decided that we'll start manufacturing those in India. We are the largest importer of electronic goods. that itself is going to put so much of pressure on the tomorrow's current account. So therefore, to make those things in India and to promote some of these ideas, so Make in India is a huge opportunity to create jobs, to create tomorrow's future and transform India in a complete way. I would not even compare ourselves with China, which is to be called the workshop of the world. I think we should position ourselves not as just a low-end manufacturing, but something else, and that is what needs detailed planning, which is already underway. In fact, to some extent, it has already been completed. But to make that happen, we need infrastructure, like ports, like roads, like railways, like seaport, like airports, and all of that is also the focus area of investment. While we do all this, we also needed to make sure that India's services sector grow. Among the services, the largest proportion that India could really benefit from is tourism. India again has a very dubious distinction. The more Indians travel abroad than foreigners visiting India. So again, we have got a very good distinction. So tourism and travel industry should always give awards to India because we promote that business. But we should try to get tourists in India. For that, it couldn't have been possible unless we invest into infrastructure, etc., but also something more. And that's why we started Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Swachh Bharat Abhiyan has not only the ability to attract tourists, but also reduce the cost of public expenditure on healthcare. Healthcare will improve, the productivity of people will improve, the economy will improve. India's image globally as well as within the country will change, and women don't have to do the type of job that they keep doing all the time in rural areas if we can actually make Swachh Bharat a reality. It is going to take 1 year to complete Swachh Bharat. I think we are kidding with ourselves. Even I was talking to Singaporeans. I'm sure Mr. Raghavan must have gone to Singapore many times. How clean Singapore was 30, 40 years ago. And what is Singapore today? Do you mean Singapore could do it in 1 year, 1 month? Somebody say, why not 1 day? I would really appreciate him. I think we can, if somebody wants to do something like this, we'll make him in charge of the Swachh Bharat campaign. But to make this happen, we really need time. We are investing our energies. And this is a long-term effort, long-haul issue. We are working on that. But just imagine our government is trying to do everything possible which is going to benefit to the people in short term, because that is something doable in short term. But not ignoring the medium term and the long-term interest of India, and therefore trying to invest energy, resources, political capital, financial capital into doing something like this. And that's why we could get benefit not only today, as in some of the programs are already yielded, but you can imagine what would be tomorrow. आप बोल रहे थे, बिल्कुल सही बोल रहे थे कि शुरू करने में थोड़ी जल्दी से करना चाहिए था, लेकिन जल्दबाजी में विकेट नहीं खोनी चाहिए. मैच जीतनी है, तो मैच जीतनी है, तो इसके लिए हमने ये तय किया कि पहले खड़े रहकर, बिल्कुल आपने सही कहा, पिच पे पर खड़े तो रहे, उसके बाद में जहां भी लगाने का छक्के पंजे बाद में लगाएंगे. तो इसके लिए मुझे लगता है कि आगे आने वाले दिनों में आप जरूर देखेंगे कि जिस तरह से हमने बुनियादी स्तर पर पिछले 1 साल में काम किया है, आज की समस्याओं को हल करने की पूरी तरह से कोशिश की, उसी समय हमने आगे आने वाले दिनों की चिंताओं को बिल्कुल नजरअंदाज नहीं किया है. इसलिए मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि आगे आने वाले दिनों में भी हम ज्यादा कामयाबी पाएंगे, जो आप सबके मन में है, दिल में है, और जो हम भी करना चाह रहे हैं. लेकिन हर चीज के लिए जो जरूरत होती है करना ही चाहिए. मैं 2-2 मिनट में किचन में जाके मेरे पत्नी को कहूंगा, अरे खाना अभी भी तैयार नहीं है. वो बोलेगी, अरे खाना तैयार करना कैसा मुझे मालूम है, आपको खाना अच्छा देना चाहती हूँ, जरा थोड़ा सबूर कीजिए. तो मैं समझता हूँ कि आगे आने वाले दिनों में हम जरूर ये सभी चीजों के ऊपर भी गौर कर रहे हैं जिसकी जरूरत है. एक लास्ट पॉइंट, and that is something because you have been showing constantly, so I had to see that all the time. A Prime Minister is one of the first Prime Minister who has taken so much of interest in foreign policy, because he realizes the correlation between foreign policy and domestic development. As I was saying earlier, this is the best time for India. This is the best time to connect with the rest of the world. In any case, we are already connected by opening up our markets. We already signed on lines to say that our markets are open. The WTO, we have been a founding member anyway of GATT and WTO. So we have already done that. Now, how to take advantage of the situation that we can also benefit from the global market, from global technology, from global capital, from global management practices. And that's why Prime Minister is trying to connect himself with almost all parts of the world and also connect with those countries which have so much affinity towards India, but we could never actually relate to them. Take example of Mongolia. Mongolia has only two neighbors, Russia and China, but they always dream of third neighbor. And India is probably, in their eyes, the third neighbor. South Korea is one of our very important ally, country, friend, and we have Prime Minister went there. Prime Minister has gone to Seychelles, which is in Indian Ocean, one of the most important security threat for the country. One of the most important maritime route for the country to make sure that our exports and imports, our critical raw materials, critical input that we need in India are always ensured, and for that we need geopolitical relationship. So Prime Minister is going abroad not for enjoying. He's working there even on Sundays. And Prime Minister has created a foreign policy which is going to benefit India. It has already changed the perception about India with our neighbors. Nepal feels that India has been one of the greatest friends of that country as a savior at a time when they needed us. Saudi Arabia could help us to get our citizens back from Yemen. Was it possible without foreign policy initiatives that have been taken? So this is to secure the poor people of India. The poor Nepalese who are working in India, the poor Keralites, the poor people from different parts of India who are working in Yemen to earn their livelihood and to support their family. We could get each one of them back secured in no time thanks to our relationship that our Prime Minister has built over a period of time. So foreign policy is to promote the domestic interest of India. Foreign policy is to create a rightful place for India. That's what he has done, whether it's Sri Lanka or what you are saying, China or any other country. Even in G20, Prime Minister is playing a leading role. So we should be proud of the fact that a Prime Minister visits all the states all the time. He has been to Northeast probably 5-6 times in last, no Prime Minister would have done in such a short time. He has been to most of the states. He is available most of the time, but also did not ignore the reality that for India to grow, we cannot ignore the rest of the world because we are part of that global polity. And that's why our vision is to make India a better country than what it is today. We must improve not only the economic development, and for doing that, to improve the ease of doing business in India significantly, but also to improve human development index, which normally the UNDP captures, and therefore we look forward to human capital developing, India emerging in the process, poverty is addressed. We make sure that tomorrow's India is built on today's foundation, which we are laying, and for that, I'm sure your channel, all your multimedia platforms will support us to achieve this. Along with 1.2 billion people, 70% you already said are very positive. Now our target next year is to convert 30% also into positive. And we make sure that we work on that. And I hope this is a collaborative effort in which Mr. Parigi and his team will join us in realizing this. So I thank you for inviting me. I am sure as we'll succeed in removing the roadblocks so that trains can fly properly, same is that we will remove all the roadblocks so that India could reach its true potential. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for those wonderful, inspiring words. We know that you are good at test cricket. We've seen you play tests also, and I think once he was forced to play 2020, but he did a grand job of that. Sir, with your permission, I would just like to open the floor for a few questions. I know you are crisis. One question. Okay, Sumit had a question, Sumit.
सर थैंक यू सो मच, आपने वक्त निकाला, हमारे कार्यक्रम में आप हिस्सा ले रहे हैं, इसके लिए शुक्रिया, थैंक यू। एक सवाल है लेकिन उसके दो जवाब मैं आपसे एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा हूं, बाकी आपकी मर्जी। अभी हम देख रहे हैं आज राजस्थान में रेल रोको एजिटेशन चल रहा है। दिल्ली बॉम्बे ट्रैक को रोक लिया गया है पिछले करीब 12-13 घंटे से। गुर्जर्स अपने आरक्षण को लेकर डिमांड कर रहे हैं। पहला सवाल जो जुड़ा हुआ है वो आपकी मिनिस्ट्री से है कि इस चीज से आप कैसे पार पाएंगे, क्योंकि रास्ता रुका हुआ है, दिल्ली बॉम्बे का रास्ता रुका हुआ है। और दूसरा जी
बताइए।
मेरे पास जवाब होता तो मैं सुरेश प्रभु की जगह बैठा होता।
सिंपल सॉल्यूशन
मैं एक सवाल, क्योंकि आपकी मिनिस्ट्री है, आपकी रेलवे है, आपको चलाना है और हम सब बड़ी उम्मीदों से आपको देखते हैं। भारतीय ट्रेन वैसे ही लेट चल रही है। और दूसरा आरक्षण से जुड़ा सवाल है कि आप जाट आरक्षण को आप रिव्यू कर रहे हैं और महाराष्ट्र में जो मुस्लिम आरक्षण की बात की गई उसको कैंसिल किया गया, उसको आप रिव्यू करने की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं। तो ये रिजर्वेशन पर क्या ये क्या क्या पॉलिसी है ये सरकार की?
मुझे ना लगता है हमारे देश में हम जानबूझ के अपने को कुछ ना कुछ सर्कल में रखना चाहते हैं। आपको इसके लिए मैं पूछ रहा था उसका सवाल क्या है, तो मैं उसके बाद में आता हूँ क्योंकि वो सिंपल है। आपको ये पहले जरा इसको बताता हूँ। रेल में सुधारने के लिए निवेश की आवश्यकता है। हमारे पास पर्याप्त मात्रा में इतना धन नहीं है जितनी उसकी जरूरत है। रेल को धन लाने के दो ही स्रोत हैं, एक तो किराया बढ़ाया जाए या तो माल भाड़ा बढ़ाया जाए। हमने इसके अलावा तीसरा रास्ता ढूंढ के ये टाइम 8.5 लाख करोड़ एक्स्ट्रा बजटरी सपोर्ट लेके निवेश करने का सोचा। निवेश नहीं करेंगे तो क्या होगा? रेल ट्रेन देर से नॉर्मली क्यों चलती है? जहाँ जहाँ हमने 15-20 साल से जो काम नहीं किया उसकी वजह से आज मुंबई दिल्ली टू कलकत्ता जाने वाले जो रूट्स है जहाँ सबसे ज़्यादा देरी होती है, खास करके इलाहाबाद टू मुगलसराय के रूट में, वहाँ ट्रेन 150% से ज़्यादा कैपेसिटी से चल रही है। कहीं कहीं तो ऐसी स्थिति है कि जहाँ पे सिंगल लाइन पे ट्रेन चलती है। जहाँ सिंगल लाइन पे ट्रेन चलती है वहाँ पे कोई भी आप कुछ भी करेंगे, कोई भी असेट फेलियर होता है तो ट्रेन और डिले हो जाती है। असेट फेलियर क्यों होता है? क्योंकि इतने सालों से हमने मेंटेनेंस करने के लिए भी पैसे का प्रावधान नहीं किया। आज भी मेरे पास मेंटेनेंस के लिए पिछले साल के भी कितने एरियर्स बाकी है। तो ऐसी स्थिति में हमने निवेश करने का तय किया। इसके लिए मैंने कहा कि निवेश किसी भी हालत में करना चाहिए। इसके लिए हमने कहीं ना कहीं से पैसे नहीं आए तो मैं भी ये कह सकता था कि कहाँ से लाए, कुछ नहीं कर सकते, क्या करेंगे, किसी को ब्लेम करके रास्ता छोड़ देते थे। हमने ये नहीं किया। रास्ता ब्लॉक है तो हमने दूसरा रास्ता निकाला, बाईपास किया, एक पैसा निकालने की कोशिश की। इसमें हमारे पास धन की पूरी तरह से आपूर्ति करने के लिए धन नहीं है। इसके लिए हम निवेश जरूर करना चाहते हैं। इसके लिए हमने पहले से कहा है कि पीपीपी मॉडल से निजी क्षेत्र इसमें आ सकता है। उसके लिए पॉलिसी को हम पूरा रिवैम्प कर रहे हैं। ये मैंने पहले ही कहा था, बजट में कहा था, हमने उसको रेगुलेटर भी बना रहे। वो कहीं से हम लोग एक हेडलाइन लेके उसके बारे में सोचते। हम जब प्राइवेटाइजेशन की बात करते तो इसके लिए सबसे पहली बात यह है कि प्राइवेट कैपिटल इन रेलवेज आना चाहिए। उसके लिए हम कोशिश भी कर रहे हैं क्योंकि हमारे पास पर्याप्त मात्रा में धन नहीं है। जो मैं जब पावर मिनिस्टर था तो मैं लोगों को यही कहता था कि यदि मेरे पास धन होता तो मैं पावर सेक्टर खुद चलाता था। लेकिन आज पावर सेक्टर लॉस में है तो इसके लिए मैंने नया कानून बना, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एक्ट लाया। फिर उसके नतीजे क्या निकले? जो 1 लाख मेगावाट हमारा कैपेसिटी था आज जो 2.5 लाख से ज्यादा हो गया और कुछ साल में 5 लाख तक जाएगा। तो इसलिए धन नहीं है तो हमको निजी क्षेत्र से चाहिए। तो ये हमारी स्टाफ नीति है, वो कहा भी है। प्राइवेटाइजेशन का मतलब क्या होता है? प्राइवेटाइजेशन का मतलब ये होता है कि पूरी रेलवे, इसका प्राइवेटाइजेशन हमारे कोई एक्सपर्ट है वो भी आपको बताएंगे। प्राइवेट कैपिटल, प्राइवेट इन्वेस्टमेंट इज डिफरेंट एंड प्राइवेटाइजेशन। प्राइवेटाइजेशन प्री सपोजेस कि आपकी जो मोर देन हाफ ऑफ द इक्विटी और एटलीस्ट मैनेजमेंट कंट्रोल ओनरशिप you transfer to some other company. Is it something which is ever envisaged in India for the timing, for at this particular point of time? When the railway is a government of India department, railway is run in a way that it has so many social obligations, so many issues to be related to that. Can the railway as an entity as it exists today, can it at this moment of time, could you even contemplate privatizing it? Not a single committee has also recommended it. Vivek Debro has clarified it. But despite that, that's why I was saying we want to get into this confusion. So we have one part is investment from private capital to come with the technology, with better management control and money. That is one part. And that policy is very well, we are trying to even liberalize it. So this is, I hope this clarifies. The second point is, that's why asking you any suggestion. If there are large number of people who have come on the tracks and are preventing movement, which we are trying to do, this is something I don't think anybody should come on the track to prevent movement. This is a law and order problem. Thousands of people have come there. Rajasthan Chief Minister is personally monitoring it, trying to solve it. In a situation like this, आप क्या कर सकते हैं? मुझे बताइए मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ, मैं करूँगा। इसके लिए आपको पूछा, बताइए कुछ रास्ता है तो। जो रास्ते कर सकते हैं हम सब कर रहे हैं। लेकिन इतना सिंपल जो कहाँ पे भी एजिटेशन होता है, लोग आके रास्ते पे बैठ जाते हैं, उसको हटाने के लिए पूरे जनतंत्र के इसके हमको काम करने की आवश्यकता है। तो इसके लिए ये देखिए, आपने इतना सिंपल सॉल्यूशन आप निकल भी नहीं सकते तो मैंने बताइए, मैं जरूर करने को तैयार हूं। इसके लिए मैं आपको ये कह रहा था दोनों बात के ऊपर। लेकिन जो मैंने आपको कहा कि ये इस तरह के, मेरी तो एक अपील है सबको, आज के आपके माध्यम से भी करता हूं कि आपको जो भी एजिटेशन करना है करिए। रेलवे ट्रैक को क्यों रोक रहे? रेलवे से कोई आपका आज लेन देन नहीं है, रेलवे से कोई उसकी संबंध नहीं है। आप उसको रोक के पूरी हमारी मुंबई टू दिल्ली, या आज पूरी की पूरी लाइन ब्लॉक है, आज हम उसको डाइवर्ट कर रहे हैं। उसके लिए मेरे आज सुबह से मैंने कितने घंटे रात को सोया भी नहीं होगा। हमने उसके लिए सब पूरी तरह से कोशिश करें कि किस तरह से लोगों को यातायात में जो असुविधा हो रही है उसको किस तरह ठीक करें। लेकिन ये करना इतना आसान नहीं है। वो भी जहां भी हम लेके जाएंगे वहां पे से पहले ट्रेन चली रही थी, अभी उसको और डाइवर्ट करके लाएंगे और भी समस्या खड़ी होगी। तो इसके लिए हम लोग इतनी सिंपलिस्टिक सॉल्यूशन लेके यदि आ सकते हैं तो मैं आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं कि आपके लिए अपने इतना अच्छा कुछ देंगे तो जरूर मैं उसके ऊपर कार्रवाई करूंगा। आप सोचिए, आज नहीं तो कल सोचिए, मेरे को आइडिया दीजिए, जो करना संभव है उससे भी ज्यादा हम कर रहे हैं। लेकिन मैं समझता हूं कि इस तरह के पहले ये नौबत ही नहीं आनी चाहिए कि रेलवे ट्रैक पे आप एजिटेशन क्यों करें। मुझे लगता है हमारी देश की सभी संस्थाओं को भी उसके बारे में सोचना चाहिए, लोगों को भी सोचना चाहिए कि ठीक है, पब्लिक यूटिलिटी जो है उनको रोक के हम किसको तकलीफ दे रहे हैं? जो यातायात करने वाले लोगों को ही ज्यादा तकलीफ हो रही है। सरकार को क्या तकलीफ होगी, लेकिन क्या हमें यह हक है कि हम उनको बेचारे को तकलीफ क्यों दें? इसके लिए मैं इसको विनती करता हूं हाथ जोड़ के, आपके माध्यम से भी, जो भी वहां पे आप यदि ये कर सकते हैं तो कृपया करिए। आपकी जो मांग है उसके ऊपर जरूर सोचना चाहिए, इसके लिए अलग अलग रास्ते भी है, लेकिन रेल को रोक के इस तरह का करना आपके लिए कोई दूसरा सुझाव का तो जरूर दीजिए।